All right, gang, welcome back to Adventures with AK. Got a neat little video for you today. So what we're going to be doing is, well, this video is geared for people who are either looking to get into fishing or, you know, like kids who are wanting to get into fishing as well. So let's say you're an adult. There's never a wrong time to get into fishing, all right? My buddy Brett here has really never fished before, so we're going to get him on this today. I'm going to show you guys how you can get into the sport fairly cheap, and some tips, tactics, different things you can do, and simple ways to catch fish. We're gonna be targeting bass today, so this is gonna be a real easy way to get after these fish. We're at just a pond here. You can find any public ponds in a town or a nearby town, whatever. And yeah, that'll be the deal today. So we went to Walmart, spent a little over $20, about $22 on our fishing gear. We got a pole, line, and two different lures to use today. All right, so this is going past just putting a worm on a hook and throwing out with a bobber. All right, so we're gonna get into it a little bit deeper than that. So let's go ahead and roll the Walmart footage. All right, gang, this is what we came up with at the Walmart. We got a Mustad spinning combo. It's already got the line rigged up, $17. All right, not the best, but it'll get the job done. Next, we're getting some baits you're gonna need. This is just the off-brand. These are $1.25, a little bit cheaper than the name brand stuff. Cream, I guess. Just Senkos, all right, green pumpkin color. We're in a clear pond today. Additionally, just some hooks. These are size 1 hooks, should do for today. And lastly, some rigged twirl tails, otherwise known as twister tails. Should be good. All this under $20. Let's get it. All right, so here's the pole we picked up. I already showed it to you in Walmart, but here's a closer look. It's a 2-piece. What I mean by that is rod comes apart. So if you have a smaller vehicle or you're looking for quick storage, it just connects right here. Pretty simple. You just pop it right off. All right. First of all, obviously you're gonna want to take this junk off. You don't need any of this stuff. Now we bought this pole. It already has line on it, as you can see. This 8-pound mono line. I'm not gonna dig in too much on different types of line here, just because this video would be forever long. So we're gonna go ahead and string this puppy up. And we're in business, just like that. All right, one thing I noticed right away on this, I don't know if all poles like this you get are gonna be doing this if you get them from Walmart, but it's not gonna retain any line. So this is called the drag, this little lever here. You're gonna wanna crank this clockwise and crank it down so that you can't really pull. You wanna be able to pull some, but it should take you a little bit of effort to do so. This is to make sure that if you do happen to hook a big fish, your line doesn't break. All right, this allows the fish to take line as it needs it, and it won't put too much tension on the line to the point it breaks. So you want to pull this down till it feels like you're pulling just a few pounds of pressure from your arm to knock this. That's about what we're gonna go with right there. Okay, it's hard to tell, but it's one of those things you just kind of have to feel for, understand what kind of fish you're gonna be fishing for, and just base it off of a gut feeling. All right, so as I showed you in Walmart, these are the hooks we're going with. Eagle Claw, just size number 1. They're just bait holder hooks. These are standard hooks you can use for just about anything, but today we're gonna be using them, well, I'll get into the rig here in a second. But first and foremost, I'm gonna teach you a fishing knot that I've used since I was a little kid. Pretty easy one to learn. And we'll just go ahead and dive right into this. So, we'll be taking our line here, all right? I always had the hook facing us, all right? So you're putting in the eye hole that has the hook on it, okay? So line in, all right, it's in the hole. You're gonna give yourself about, whatever that is, 6-7 inches of line. My fingers are on the tag end there. I'm gonna slide it up, all right? So you're pinching the line with a little bit of tag end on the end, and you're gonna start twisting this hook, all right? Probably anywhere from 7 to 8 times until you have a little opening on the bottom, all right? So from there, you're gonna take your tag end, go through that bottom loop you just made, okay? Then you have this look, all right? And that tag end coming out. So then reach through the big loop you just made and grab that tag end, slide it right through. Should look something like that. And then pull it down, pull the hook away from the line, and you can just pull it right in on itself. And that's all it is, okay? That's what it should end up looking like. You wanna pull the tag end a little bit, And from there, you're always, pretty much no matter what you're fishing for, take pliers or something and cut off that tag end to where there's just a little bit left. That's about it, and that's all you're gonna want right there. That's a knot we're gonna be using today. Easy knot to know. It's a good one to have in your arsenal, and it's something you can probably use for the rest of your life to some extent. All right, so the first bait we're gonna go with today is this worm. It's called a Senko. I don't really know why it's called a Senko. It's also called a stick worm. There's a bunch of different names for it. But this is what we're gonna be using today. All right, so you're gonna take your hook that you just tied on, and this is called the wacky rig. All right, the wacky rig. I don't really know why it's called that. Probably because it does look kind of wacky when it's in the water. But pretty much all you're gonna do is find whatever you think is the midpoint of this bait. So I'm holding it right about in the middle here. And all you do is you take this, that's it. That's virtually the rig right there. That's all you need to do. You hear a lot of professional bass fishermen say this, the first rig that they ever used when they were a kid was the wacky rig, and it's because it's so simple. It's hard to mess up, all right? You could be blind and probably figure this rig out. It's that easy to use, and fishing it is just as easy, so let me show you how to do that. All right, so the basis of this bait, what it's trying to mimic in the water is this. Let's say you took a big night crawler or a big worm that's about this size and you toss it in the water. It's just gonna flutter down just like this will in the water, okay? It's gonna fall slowly, and it's the most vulnerable bait that's out there. A bass sees this and they thinks, okay, that's an easy meal, I'm gonna eat this. So when you're fishing this bait, you don't wanna be fishing too deep because this does take a long time to sink. If you're fishing 10 foot of water and you're wanting this to sink closer to the bottom, it's gonna take a while for that bait to sink. So you're gonna be wanting fishing stuff like this. All right, we got shallow water, we got weeds. We're gonna be making parallel casts to the bank. So by that, I mean, our line when we cast out is parallel to the bank, okay? That's gonna be the best way to cover the most water in that sweet spot where these fish are gonna be hanging out and where you're gonna be wanting to use this bait. So, casting this pole, all right? Some of you may be accustomed to using like the push button style reels. I'm not a fan, all right? I don't like how they work. So, using this, real simple. You're gonna turn, this is called the bail, all right? This metal bar. You're gonna be turning this. You want your bait about that far off on the tip of your pole. Anywhere from a foot, foot and a half, that's fine. And you're gonna want this line to be on the side of the pole. You're gonna take it with your finger and flip the bail up. It's that simple. So here, line can come out, line's caught. Line can come out and not, all right? So when you cast this out, instead of the push button being your way of letting the line go, you just release your finger, all right? You let your finger go, and line comes out, all right? So that's how we're gonna cast. So you're gonna go back, and just let your finger go, and there's your cast right out there. All right, in the sense of fishing this, I don't know how long it's gonna take for this to get eaten, and I feel like I actually have one already. So, had one. All right, so the way this bait works, a lot of fish want to go after this because, like I said, it's so simple. If you're in an area that has quite a few bass like this pond does, it's gonna be hard to keep your bait or your line in the water without having a fish on it. All right, so you're gonna make the cast out there, and basically you're just gonna be letting it sink until you feel that bite. All right, if you don't want to let it sink for more than, I'd say, 10-15 seconds. Once you get that 10-15 seconds, you keep a timer going in your head. You're just gonna want to give it a couple little pulls so it comes back up to allow it to sink back down, because it's that falling action that makes these fish want to bite this bait. If the bait was sitting still and not falling, it probably wouldn't hit it, just for the fact that it doesn't look natural. All right, worms can't move on their own in the water. All they can do is fall and kind of wiggle down. So that's what we're gonna be looking for. So let's go ahead and see if we can catch one real quick, and then we're gonna flip the script and we'll let Brett do this. All right, here we go. Had one. Okay. There's one. A lot of times your worm will fall off, and that's fine. You just rehook it. Now, in the sense of holding a bass, let's say you catch one you never held one before. Bass don't have anything that's really going to poke you except for possibly this back spine, which if they feel angry enough, they will pop that up. And those are sharp. So if you get the chance, the best way to hold these bass is either like this, with your palm on their belly, and hold it up higher by their gills so they can't flop on you, or if you can get your thumb in their mouth, just like that, they can't get away from you, all right? Then all you do, pop the hook out, whatever's easiest, and and just like that, you're on the board. All right. We'll always toss these guys back in. Bass are okay to eat, but don't typically keep them. So that was good. We'll get Brett on this and see what he can do. Yep. Yes. Oh, baby, the jumper. All right. So here, go ahead and we'll let some line out. Get him, Shay. I'll hold it. Let you do the business here. So if you can, grab the top of that line right above the hook, and then just lip. Yep.
Right there.
Yep, right there. And clamp it hard. He's gonna shake right when you do it too. It's just a natural reaction of theirs.
Yeah, yep. My baby.
Bam.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Now you can slack up the line. You can go ahead and pop that hook out. If you need pliers, there's pliers right over there.
No, I don't know.
You got her. There it is. Bingo. All right.
Give him a kiss goodbye.
Sweet. First wacky rig bass. All right, so we're gonna get into bait number 2 today. All right, this is called the old twister tail or curly tail, whatever you wanna call it. So there's kind of 2 parts of this, but you can buy them already assembled. One is the jig head, which is this big pink part with the hook is, or what it's actually tied to. There's the knot, and that's just down to the hook. All right, it's all one piece. I'll show you that later. And then the other part is the body, the white part. All right, so that's all of this what the hook goes through, and it sits like that. All right, it's supposed to look like a minnow or some sort of baby fish swimming through the water, which also poses a pretty easy meal to bass. There's also the chance we catch crappie or bluegill on this too, but our main target's gonna be bass. That's kind of the beauty of fishing though. Sometimes you're targeting one species and you end up catching something totally different and off the wall. But this one's a little bit more simple and straightforward to use. There's not much you have to feel for except for a bite itself. You just cast and pretty much reel this thing in. Let's get into that. All right, so once again, we're pretty much going for more parallel casts along the bank just to cover this water column. This does sink a lot faster because the jig head part of this is made of lead, so it's heavy. It sinks a lot quicker than that weightless hook with the worm on it. That worm wants to float, but the hook is making it go down slowly. This is gonna sink right to the bottom if you don't start reeling it. So that is the one thing. You have to cast it out, and pretty much as soon as it hits the water, you're gonna wanna start retrieving that in and not let it sink with slack line straight to the bottom, otherwise you're gonna get covered up in weeds. All right, so we're gonna make some casts here, and it's just a nice slow retrieve, and that tail really mimics a fish's tail in the water, and the fish usually just nail it, all right? There's really no question when you have a bite or not. My rod tip's about chest high. I'm just reeling this guy in. That's pretty much all there is to it. Occasionally you'll pick up weeds like this. At the end of each cast, if you do, just take them right off. Those can actually affect how this tail turns, all right? In the water, when I came up, I saw there was so much gunk on it that the tail was just, it looked like this in the water. Like there was no tail at all. And you don't want that. You want that tail. That's the whole part of this. So we're gonna try it on this side. Try again. There's one right there. And that is actually a big bluegill, all right? Which, if you're looking to keep bluegill, this is a pretty big one. Bluegill, these are great to eat, all right? Real yummy. This one's actually full of eggs, that's why its gut's so big right now. Now these, you really have to watch out for these guys up here, these spines, okay? And unlike bass, they also have really sharp fins down here, these guys and these, all right? So when you hold these, start at the top, slide down so that you fold these fins down, okay? And you're gonna wanna hold them just like that. That way he can't spine you in any way. All right, now if I had a cooler, I'd be keeping this guy. These taste really good, but we're gonna be putting him back today. So now we're gonna switch roles again, let Brett do some of this, and let's do it. Yes. Finally.
Hell yeah, seriously. Another bass.
Yeah. Bingo. Shay. There you go. That should pop right out. There it is. Unreal. All right, guys, that's a wrap on that video. Hope that was helpful to some extent. I tried to be as detailed as I could and trying to remember back when I first started fishing, what helped me the most and the tactics and things that would have helped me when I started fishing, you know, to kind of understand what I was doing and why I was doing it more. Because, you know, a lot of times you're just told what to do and you don't really get much of an explanation. So I was trying to help you as much as I could. And, you know, hopefully if you're just getting into fishing, or if, you know, whatever it may be, if you just need a little refresher, or for whatever reason you're watching this, I hope it did help you to some extent and give you a tip, you know, whether that be someone who's been fishing for 20 plus years like me, and I learn something new every time I go out and fish. So don't think like someone like me I fished this long, I know everything about fishing. I absolutely do not. I learn something new every single time I go out and fish. That's the beauty of it. Brett's just starting and he loves it. He's gonna be out here a lot, I think, so that's awesome. He's still fishing right now. He just missed one a little bit ago, it looked like. So hopefully we're gonna keep fishing here for a while, but we're gonna end this video on that note. We caught 4 in the video, 3 bass and 1 gigantic bluegill. So yes, please comment below if you have questions or any additional tips. Go ahead and read these comments. Hopefully people, you know, are nice enough to drop some wisdom of their own. Or like I said, if you have questions, feel free to get a hold of me. I'm on social media, Facebook and Instagram, both of those at Adventures with AK. If you feel like messaging me and getting an idea of some other tips from me or whatever it might be. So on that, we'll end the video there. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next adventure.